Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid. Excuse me. Man, for January 3rd, 2023. Hope everybody is having a great morning and a great early afternoon, mid-afternoon, all that stuff. I was debating on whether or not I was going to get on today. I'm not feeling well, but and I was debating on whether I was going to get on today. Nick usually has the show Touchdown Detroit Lions at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. And even before I touched base with him, I was debating on whether or not I was going to get on. If I go silent for a while, it's because I'm either sneezing, coughing, blowing my nose, something. And I felt compelled to get on, and I talked to Nick, and Nick is going to get on tomorrow. He just wants to let another day pass. But I wanted to get on with y'all, man. I wanted to talk about yesterday, and I know this is a Detroit Lions channel, but nothing matters at this point. Nothing when it comes to football and stuff like that. Nothing matters because we've got Darren in that situation. And I watched that yesterday in real time. And I got to say, man, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Watching the game and watching the kid and wondering what was happening. So I'm not going to make the whole show about that, but I want y'all to know that I am very aware of what happened and the sensitivity of the subject. For those of you who don't know, Damar, I called him Darren. Damar Hamlin is a defensive back for the Buffalo Bills, and everybody knows what happens by now. What happened? He was making a tackle. He was contacted by T. Higgins, and now a lot more information has come out about what it was. It was a cardiac arrest. And basically, according to Brian Sutter from YouTube, he's a doctor who does sports injuries and things like that. It was basically, we used the term freak accident. This was, in all meaning of the word, a freak accident. Basically, it appears as though it's very difficult to explain, but it involves his heart and a kind of a lightning in a bottle type situation where the contact was made and the guy's heart stopped beating. He had CPR performed on him for 9 minutes. It was the most scariest thing I've ever seen. And, we've seen injuries. We've seen him cut to commercial, and we've seen people get taken off in ambulances, but this one felt different. This one felt different. I remember I'm watching it, and then they showed the replay. They showed it trying to figure out what happened, and they're giving the audience an idea of trying to figure out what happened, and you couldn't. I thought maybe it was a head injury. He stood up, and it was the most surreal thing. He stood up, and then he just fell out. He just completely fell out, and then they went to one commercial. They went to two, and they kept coming back. They kept cutting to commercial. The crowd kept growing around him. And then 10 minutes in, we find out that he had to get CPR administered, which means that he had no pulse. And if his heart was beating, it was beating so faintly that they could not find a pulse. So they administered CPR for over 10 minutes. According to the broadcast, they tried to put him on the ambulance. It came down. They had to pull him down and continue CPR. And, we know football is a violent game. And a lot of times it goes, like how you expect. You make a tackle, you get up, might have a, knee injury. But very rarely does a man's life get threatened. And it was the most surreal thing that I've ever seen watching this game. And I've seen some things, some people get injured, but this was very surreal. And it's hard to imagine, you're talking about football in a time like this. Now, the word coming out from his family and the internet and the NFL, first of all, the NFL yesterday, we were wondering what they were going to do. And according to, depending on what source you have and what source you read, it wasn't the NFL that really decided that they were going to call this game. It was the players. The players refused to go back out. And it was a very good showing by the fans in Cincinnati and the team, the individuals, to know that we're all human at the end of the day. We're human behind the pads, behind the face mask, behind underneath the jersey. We're all human, and I'm sure there'll be some questions as to how the NFL handled this. I'm sure they have some type of protocol, but how often do they have to enact it? It's like an emergency situation. When you have everybody remembers the school drills that we had, a fire drill, right? Um, I've never been a part of a fire drill, but everybody, you had to have them. You had to have a fire drill where they took it very seriously. And I'm sure the NFL, I heard yesterday that they said once a year they have a routine where they duplicate or replicate something happening where they need quick responders. And I knew something was bad when the team, like the team doctors and the training staff, when they ran out there, they darted out there. I was like, usually it's like a jog and stuff like that. I said, something is wrong in this case. So it was good to see the prompt action, and that no doubt saved his life. Yes, yes. SW Lion says and I love the unity that all the teams on Twitter have changed their logo to, praying for Damar. Very, very good show of unity by the NFL, the teams, and the PR departments. I think that's fantastic. Now, the word is that he is still in critical condition. He is still in critical condition, and that the family will keep us notified when something changes. Critical condition. I don't know if he's still in intensive care, but he is still in critical condition. And it just, you're sitting there, we talk about this game we love so much, and we talk about it every day. We talk about these players and whatnot. And 10 times out of 10, it's about their play on the field and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, these guys are human. They're human. And they said they see this injury with baseball players when they get hit in the chest with the ball traveling at 90 miles an hour. That's what this was. So, no word. Now, the NFL they will not resume that game this week. I know it's not important as far as the global scheme of things, but they have come out and said that they will not resume the game this week. And knowing that, I think that they're going to, this stuff is unprecedented, y'all. Like, we've never seen anything like this. It happened in week 17, playoff seeding and thing like that. And I think that they are going to talk to the NFL clubs, specifically the NFC, the AFC. And I think that they are going to probably come together and find out a way to disregard this game. That's what I think is going to happen, because initially I thought that maybe if we got a good word through the night that he was stable, and because that's what the players want to know. They want to know that he's going to come out of this thing and stuff like that, and they don't want to be on the field while that's happening. Now, as far as I know, the games have not been canceled or postponed for this weekend. The Saturday games, there is no Thursday. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to squash this game. I think they're going to do that. Calvin says, why didn't they cancel our game when the Lions players was off the field, was ambulance off the field? That is a good question. I don't know. And but I've never seen anybody need CPR on a football field. Like I said, y'all, if I disappear for a few seconds, don't pay no attention. I'm probably clearing my nasal passage. So it was very surreal. Glad to see that the NFL is, and I don't know, like, the question was, why is it taking so long for them to call the game? And something else that came out that's very, very questionable, okay? Last night, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm all over the place. My head is throbbing, but I'm here, man. I wanted to make sure y'all got the support. I wanted to make sure we was able to talk about it. If you had any questions or any concerns. Mr. Pocket says no way they can reschedule. And Lion says they may just go ahead and declare it a tie. Yeah, I can see that too. And I think that I was thinking about this last night and we were talking about it because we were on and we were trying to figure out, okay, well, how serious is it? They kept cutting into commercial. We're like, this is very serious. It was commercial after commercial. It was long commercials. I'm like, this is really bad. They come back, and then 30 minutes go past. They're still on the field. I'm like, okay, this game is done. An hour in, we find out that they're going to call the game, and that's it, right? So this morning it came out that they will not play this week, and I think it's going to be difficult for the Bills to take the field this Sunday. I do. Being week 17, now it's week 18, and this game was important when it came to the seeding of the teams. You had the Cincinnati Bengals with their eyes on the number one seed, and it's sad because the atmosphere in yesterday's game was electric. I wasn't feeling well, and just the crowd, man, in Cincinnati was hyping me up, and then we get this tragic situation with this young man. And I hope that he comes out of this with the ability to function and he's okay. He's okay. And I agree with you guys that they will not resume this game. I just don't think you can. I don't think the players are going to want to. And it will remain where I've never seen. And if they did somehow figure this thing out and decide to do it, it would be the first time that I've ever seen them do that. Roger Goodell, he can do that. He can resume a game from any point. And I think it's going to be hard to get the fans back in the stands and stuff like that. Now, the Buffalo Bills did fly home. They did fly home last night. So that told me when I found out they were going back to the team, I said, oh no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. So it is not scheduled for this week, and they have no schedule up. So I think that they're going to talk to the AFC teams and be like, listen, the ones that were in the hunt for number one, and be like, what can we do here? What can we do? Because in the grand scheme of things, I don't see any NFL team having a problem with giving up seeding. Yeah, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose home field advantage potentially, but this is bigger. This man's, safety and life is bigger than anything they could do. And I think that that's probably what's going to happen. Hatter's House says, I think they're going to push the playoffs back a week. I actually thought about that as well. I thought that they could do that. He was asking how the NFL considered postponing a game this late in the season as it's a part of football. The thing about it, yeah, Hatters, it has. I thought about that as well. I thought about even pushing everything back, but the Super Bowl probably won't be pushed back. There is a week in between the national title game, I'm thinking of college, the conference games, right? And the Super Bowl. Y'all remember the few years that there was no week in between? It was the conference games, and then it was the Super Bowl, and then the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl. And I'm thinking that they could do that. I'm also thinking they can push a wild card back. They could also make a wild card game on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. This is unprecedented. This is something the NFL has not had to face that I can recall. So I do believe that they do have that capability to push everything back, fit it in somehow. The thing about it is this wasn't week 18, so they still had a game to play week 18. So I thought the very latest these two teams could play would be tomorrow. They could play tomorrow, and then they got to turn around and play. And maybe we push the Lions back to Monday Night Football, and we put them on Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Like we do that again. So there is a Mr. Pocket says, no, they won't push back playoffs unless something else bad happens. Yeah, I think it's hard for us to call it. It's hard for us to call it, but Skip Bayless is getting annihilated today on social media. You have to be very careful in times like this of what you say, how you say it, what you prioritize. Shannon Sharp did not appear on Undisputed today. I'm not sure why. It has not come out that I've seen as to why he didn't show up. He was a no-show for Undisputed. And I know Skip has been, a lot of people don't like Skip, but this is going to be something that I know personally I've never seen it. And I know the NFL world is shook. It was very tough to see, and how man, Very tough, y'all. Very tough. And we will be talking about that more this week. And it really does trump anything else we could talk about. Ryan Clark was emotional. See, by the time he got on T, I turned it off because we had been on. And it was the most unique experience yesterday. And I promise y'all, we'll talk about some Lions. We will talk about some Lions, but I wanted y'all to know that I'm here for you. I felt like if I do this with class and taste, then it will be, y'all will understand. And I wanted to make sure that, I was here for y'all if y'all want to talk in the chat or whatever. So yesterday was kind of a unique situation. These games are on cable, and cable is ESPN. And I've had cable for a long time, so I have a cable package. So I have the hardwire cable. So I have it for football because in order for me to do these games, it keeps me as close to possible as real time. There's a built-in delay on YouTube, and then you have the delay of streaming. You can be a play behind. You guys have seen those channels where they're 3 or 4 plays behind. That's critical for you guys' experience and for mine. Knowing I don't want anybody to spoil it in the chat. So I pay for cable. And a lot of people don't have ESPN. So we're doing a game, and it is a fantastic atmosphere. Man, we're having such a good time. I'm not feeling well, but like I said earlier, the game is giving me energy. And I'm like, man, this is going to be these teams were, Allen and Burrow was like on a whole nother level. Burrow looked sharp. Allen, it was crazy. So we have about 700 people in here. And I knew how big this thing was when it happens at the 5:58 mark in the first quarter. And we have 700 people. Then we have 1,200 people. Then we have 2,000 people. Then 3,000 people. People were trying to find out what happened. They were trying to find out what happened to Damar. And it was the most, this whole thing was surreal. But the reason I brought that up is when Joe Buck and Troy Aikman got off the air, so did I. I got off the air because I wanted to stay on until we found out as much as we could. And now he's still in critical condition. So nothing really has changed over the course of the last 20 hours or so. Mr. Poole comes in. What's up, man? Says games a la carte. And I believe that means something like canceled, something like that, bro. It's something. I've heard that term before, but we were just talking how I don't think, and most of us in here don't think they're going to play this game. Because even if they try to fit it in, you have the nightmare of the logistics, but then you have, these guys are going to need counseling. They're going to need counseling. They have counseling and therapy for these guys. They're going to need someone to talk to them. You know what I mean? About this to help them get through it. Yes. You have to be careful. And I think sometimes we have to really think about what we say. And I think one thing about Twitter and social media is sometimes you react, and in the age that we live in today, you put it out there, guys, it's gone. It's forever. Somebody can get a screenshot of it. They are, they can do all of that stuff. And you are never going to live it down. So you have to really, really, you have to process what you say, and you have to think about even the structure as which you say it. Because one thing about text, when you are texting or writing, you cannot convey emotion. You can't convey tone. So the way we can, the way you yell on social media or typing is all capital letters and a bunch of exclamation points. So you have to be very careful because words are going to be taken as you type them. And if they're typed insensitive, they're going to be taken insensitive. According to Roger Goodell, the game will basically be voided. That makes a bunch of, that's what I thought it meant, Mr. Poole, and that makes sense. And it only makes sense for a number of reasons, not only the timing of the game, of when it happened, but the fact that just the logistics of it is a total nightmare. And then on top of that, these players have to go and try to continue in the same field and all of that stuff. And we don't know what's going to happen with this young man. We don't know the outcome of how he's going to be. So that would be a lot to ask. And I'm very curious to know if they're going to play this weekend, those two teams. We haven't heard anything yet, but as far as the NFL pausing or something this weekend, I personally don't think they're going to do it. I do not think they're going to do it. I think they're going to honor him in some way. Maybe have decals on the helmet and address it at the before the start of the game. But as far as the Bills and Bengals, I don't know. So, like, it's bigger than football. It's bigger than seeding. Man, I sound horrible, y'all. I'm sorry. If I would have known I sound this bad, I would have got on. So it's bigger than all of that. It's bigger. This is about life, and it's not about a game. That's not what's important right now. So I'm sure they'll figure it out. They got brilliant minds, people who get paid to do this. They'll figure it out. Yeah, Mr. Poole, we saw that. Also, prayers up for T. Higgins. Can't imagine. Yeah, man, and a lot of support to him as well. Sometimes, like, he was the receiver that Damar made contact with, and I know that he probably feels guilty, like he had something, because it's inside of us. We are built like that. Our human nature takes over, and we are built like that, and it's going to be very, very tough for him to move on. I've never seen so much raw emotion on a football field. When I saw Stephon Diggs crying and multiple Buffalo Bills crying, I'm like, this is. And then, when the injury is really severe, they won't show it again. So we never saw it again. So, and I will talk about the Lions if you guys want me to. If not, we can keep talking about this. I only want to do it if you feel it's okay. I don't know if you talked about it yet, but it's amazing what people can pull off. Damar's. Oh my God. Yes. So he has a GoFundMe that he's a charity that he was giving to. It was like toys for kids. And this man's charity had a goal of $2,500, and it is approaching $5 million. It had hit $2 million before the night was over yesterday. And it just tells you, man, that people, at the end of the day, there are some good people out there. And it's some bad ones, but there are some good people out there. And the support, I know I went on the page or I saw the little screenshots and somebody gave $5,000. It was fantastic to see everybody come together. Honestly, it's a wonder it hasn't happened more often. I've seen worse hits, far worse than what this kid took. And that's the thing, SW. Brian Sutter was saying it was literally like a freak accident, bro. That basically it's like getting struck by lightning as far as the improbability of it. His heart was beating. He said if it was a millisecond later, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. It was like the epitome, man, of a freak accident. And man, it's tough to imagine what these Buffalo Bills players are going through. Dustin says the virus guilt is real. I had it coming back from Iraq. Man, I can only imagine. But it's good to see, man, like the people coming together, because that's rare. We don't get that a lot. We don't get it a lot. And you know what I was thinking too? I was like, man, how bad this is. My 25-year-old friend had a cardiac arrest last March after basketball dude was vaxxed. Just, oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay, John. All right. Let me say this. Okay. I'm not a doctor, right? If I was, I wouldn't be talking about Detroit Lions on. If I would have known you were going to say that, I wouldn't have read it. I will say this. Is that, again, Dr. Sutter, he makes videos. You can check his channel out. He started the video explaining what happened to Damar, and the first thing he said was, "This is not a result of a vaccine." Because for some reason, that's what was dominating my chat yesterday. When this kid is fighting for his life, what I heard in my chat had to do with the COVID vaccine. So I totally don't understand why that would happen. And listen, I'm going to say something. I don't want anybody to say anything about this, meaning I'm going to do it. And this is against my better judgment, but I'm going to do it. When it comes to this vaccine, I have it. I decided I wasn't going to get it for my son. Him and his mom and I, we discussed it. He talked about it, and we made that choice together. But as for me, I got it. This is not, you don't have to tell me whether you got it. I'm not asking you to tell me. I would prefer you not to, and please don't. I'm just telling you. It was a decision that I made. If I run into some issues, that's the decision I made. But what I don't understand is why for the past 2 years, when something happens, I cannot believe the amount of people that were in my chat talking about the connection between the two. When this guy is playing a violent game, when these guys run 22 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. Have you ever had a fastball thrown at your chest at 95 miles an hour? Unlike football players, basketball players, baseball players are not wearing any protective padding. This was the equivalent of getting hit in the chest as hard as you possibly could directly and probably at your heart at the perfect time. And some dummies on the internet are talking about a COVID vaccine. We have to be better. I truly do not understand some people's thought process. SW says, if it hasn't been said already, Skip should apologize for his tweet, assuming it was reckless. He actually did, SW. He actually did. So it was so bad that his boss called him and said, hey, you need to clarify this tweet. You need to clarify. That's how bad his tweet was being received. Lion says, so if it's voided, that means Cincinnati and Buffalo in the season playing 16 games, not 17. That is correct. Yep, that's correct. And I don't think the Chiefs, who currently have the number one seed, it was a crazy scenario. Like Buffalo and Kansas City have been playing leapfrog. Whoever wins the following week or the week has the number one spot. So Kansas City won. They beat Denver. They took the number one spot over. Buffalo beats Cincinnati. They take the number one spot over. But Cincinnati, if Cincinnati wins, then it could come down to like a three-way tie for the number one seed in week 18. So it was a big game. But I don't think that you can play it. I just don't. I don't think you can play it. I don't think you can play it. Kenneth, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But when you are an internet personality like myself, you get people. We didn't have this at first. Soon as the man got hurt, my chat flooded with this talk. And I just don't understand it. I do not understand what this is about. I just really makes you question humanity. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. Because when you're doing these games, man, you see people of all, it's like people just sitting with nothing to do, and they're just looking and hoping to be a troll somewhere. And it was pathetic in my opinion. And that's what that was. Like, why are we doing this? This kid is laying, why are we doing this? So. Can't speak for the player, but I would imagine he wouldn't want the NFL world stopped over it. You know, that could be a good point. And I think sometimes it's hard to hear the truth. You know what I mean? And the truth is, and I say this with respect, that the NFL is, I said it last night, the NFL is a machine. They're a machine. Things have happened before, things will happen after. They will keep going. They will keep going. How long they take in between this event and when they resume and what they decide and going forward, will they make changes? Will they, what will they do? But the NFL will go on. It will go on. Okay, as W says, let's talk Lions. Like I said, man, I only wanted to do it if I wanted to make sure that, I did right. And because you do this stuff, I like to joke a lot. That's kind of my thing. I'm a very, my personality is high. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, I'm kind of like this in real life. This is real life, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is me. And I like to joke and have fun. And I didn't, like to make jokes and stuff like that. So if you guys want to talk Lions, we can. Prayers going out to Damar, his family, everybody affected by this. And it just reminds you that we're all human at the end of the day. All right, so shout out to Mr. Poole because I wanted to say something today. And I saw this, and it really bothered me. It really bothered me, and I want to talk about it. This is the first story I wanted to talk about today, so I am going to be watching the chat, and we can talk about more. But I've been watching for the Detroit Lions and a press conference from maybe Dan Campbell. I know it's Tuesday. I didn't know if they were going to get on due to what happened last night. But I saw something today that bothered me. It bothered me. And again, shout out to Mr. Poole, man. I don't watch this guy. I don't watch this guy at all because he's become a diva to me. I really respected him when he first started, when he was just a regular old former NFL punter. But Pat McAfee, man. Pat McAfee is feeling some type of way. He's feeling some type of way because the Lions team, organization, PR department decided that they weren't going to, that Dan Campbell, they let Pat McAfee know that Dan Campbell did not have time. Okay? He didn't have time to appear on their show. Now, mind you, Dan Campbell is an NFL head coach of the Detroit Lions. His team is arguably playing the biggest game of the year against a division rival, Green Bay Packer. They are out of padded practices. I don't know if you guys caught that yesterday. The NFL gives you so many per year, and they are out. If the Detroit Lions do indeed get a postseason berth, they will have more granted to them. So this is a busy man. And Pat McAfee is running around like a little baby on his show that he's bummed because the Lions didn't grant permission for Dan Campbell to give him 5 or 10 minutes. Dan Campbell was just on the show 2 weeks ago before we played the Minnesota Vikings. He gave you time. I don't really see a bunch of other coaches that are on the show from the NFL. And I would bring it in because I want y'all to hear what he had to say. But he curses, and I'm not going to bring that in. I don't know if he does a lot on the segment. But the guy is having a natural fit. He's having a fit about the Lions, and he doesn't blame Dan Campbell. He blames the Lions. And the way he's talking about it is as if he's the only one talking about the Lions. Like, and it's sad to see, y'all. It really is sad to see. I know this guy pays these guys. I know Pat McAfee, but it's sad to see a bunch of yes men. And if I ever was big like that, I would not hire a single yes man. Not one yes man. We all know Foxy was interviewed by Denny. I think he was interviewed by the Minnesota Vikings host. Like the Minnesota Vikings channel interviewed this guy before the game. And he was there, and it was sad to see him as a Lions fan, the residential Lions fan, on the show. Just, lap it up to his boss. Lap it up to his boss. The Detroit Lions, no NFL team at all has to do anything for you, Pat. He doesn't have to be, they don't have to be on your show. But I wish I could show it. Mr. Poole, do you remember if it was any cursing in there, man? Because I don't. I know he uses it like a sailor. But the arrogance, the spoiled, the entitlement of Pat McAfee. What is your problem? What is your problem? Okay, not terrible. Okay. I want y'all to see, man. And knowing this guy, if I try to use his content, he'll probably strike me. But it was, in my opinion, it was just the most pathetic thing, man. Should have had this queued up before. But what is Pat McAfee's problem, man? I'm going to let y'all, you know what, I'll give him the view. Go over there and look at it. I'll let y'all go look at it. But if you do this, it's near the end of the show. Go over there to Pat McAfee, and you are going to go to the 2 hour and 43 minute mark. Exactly. And he starts talking about how the Detroit Lions basically did him wrong. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. This right here, I have not liked Pat McAfee, and I'm a nobody when it comes to, celebrity in the NFL and stuff like that. I have not liked him since he became Pat McAfee, the internet celebrity. But I want y'all to go over there, and after you watch this video, go to the 2 hour and 43 minute mark exactly. The condescending nature that he's talked about our team because we told him no. And the thing is, he had just, he interviews Aaron Rodgers on Tuesday. And he was, I'm talking about lapping it up. Now he's mockingly saying that he hopes we win because we're America's team and we're destined for greatness. He's lit. Pat McAfee is petty. I can be petty. I think we all can be petty, right? Somebody really, really does you wrong. Some part of you wants to be petty. But Pat McAfee has become the most arrogant, entitled. I have not watched this man, his show regularly since he had probably about 300,000 subscribers. I don't care for him, his attitude, his personality, his entitlement. He was a decent punter in the National Football League. He is a celebrity as a media personality. And his arrogance is ridiculous. So make sure you go over there, check it out. 2 hour 2 hour 43 minute mark exactly. And tell me what you think of Pat McAfee. He's like, good, telling Aaron Rodgers, good luck on Sunday. If MCDC comes on. And now I'm thinking, see, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because Dan Campbell might not ever want to come on your show again. Now, he gives himself an out saying that he doesn't think Dan Campbell even knew that they put the request in. Pat McAfee does not like to be told no. And he was told no, and he had a fit. He had a tantrum like a baby, and he is now taking shots at our team because he said we are destined for greatness, but if we lose, he's going to absolutely destroy us. You find it on Pat McAfee's show from today. You go to the 2 hour and 43 minute mark, and it's about a 5 or 6 minute segment. It's right at the end. So let me know your thoughts, man. Do you watch Pat McAfee? I think he's out of line. I think he's been out of line for a long time. And one thing about the internet, man, one thing about fame, period. Fame can really go to your head because I promise you this, Pat McAfee is he's much more famous what he's doing now than he ever could have been as the Indianapolis Colts punter. And he was a decent punter, but I promise you that these are two different Pat McAfees. He let the success go to his head, and now he think the NFL owes him something. They don't owe him anything. He has to pay them for the rights to use their footage. But I promise you this, man. You will never see any yes men on Syndicate Sports Detroit. That will never happen. I am not surrounded by them. I don't. Nope. Not a thing. So let me know your thoughts on Pat McAfee. Feels weird today, y'all. Feels weird just being on. Getty says, I like Pat McAfee's show, but I don't take his takes too seriously. He's entertainment for me, not insight. That's true. I think a lot of his stuff is for show, but I think his feelings be hurt. When his feelings are hurt, his feelings are hurt. I'm finna look. He needs to be humbled. He's talking crap about us before. I watch Pat McAfee every day. Love his energy and jokes, but this man is sad to see. Still go watch him. Hey, yeah, you should. If that's what you want to do. I don't watch him. I can't watch arrogant, I watched McAfee when he first started. I supported him then. I thought it was awesome what he was doing, the trend that he was setting and stuff like that. But now, I just can't. I have not watched him in probably about 2 years. So I applaud what he's doing. He's an inspiration for people like me to, kind of just come out of nowhere. But I knew it was a problem when, if you guys remember, so the XFL, they wanted him on the field. And Pat McAfee showed up for the first game. And then he wanted to do stuff that they told him not to do. And so he started attacking them. He ran his mouth about the Red Rings consistently until Darren McCarthy called him out. Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't like arrogant people. And if I was ever arrogant, I would hope that I would be humbled. So I can't like a guy that's arrogant, even if his media personality is arrogant, like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know Aaron Rodgers as a human being, but his football personality, even today, man, with the whole, this is more important about it's just hard to take anything it's hard to take what Aaron Rodgers says seriously. So, yeah, I'm not for Pat McAfee. I know one thing. He calls out people who if you tell him no, he's gonna people hated the kid Caillou, man. And they hated him, said he whined all the time. That's Pat McAfee. Whining all the time. All right, man. Whoo-wee. I'm telling you, when you sick, bro, like you don't understand how much, I said this yesterday, how much your body uses, how much energy your body uses to produce just you moving your hands and head and talking. Like it's difficult. Skip said they should have kept playing. Did he? I didn't see that tweet if he said that, but I did not. Hey, Drew, that'd be the best thing that ever happened. I wish Pat McAfee would attack little old me. You know how big that'd blow me up? You know how big? As a matter of fact, it'd make, I'd be the hottest thing out there. I wish he would bring me a segment. That's why, listen, I've never repped the same old Lions, brand new Lions. I've never said none of that stuff. And when I do, it's in reference to what they're saying. Hey, forget 50K. I have a plaque tomorrow. I wish, man, please. I am a needle in a haystack. Pat McAfee ain't thinking about me, but I wish he would. All right, but check this out. This might be the last segment, man. Yeah. Speaking of Rodgers, he actually called the Lions a very good opponent today. Oh Lord. Okay, Mr. Poole, you done got me feeling some type of way. Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, and according to Mr. Poole, avid watcher of the channel, and tunes in to Pat McAfee shows on Tuesday to hear Aaron Rodgers and his spiel for however long he's on there, said he called the Lions a very good opponent today. And I have some theories about that. Could it be that you about to play them? Could it be that you said some stuff earlier, 3 weeks ago, about specifically our team being 7-7? It's hard to take Aaron Rodgers at face value. You can't. Pat McAfee, you cannot take Aaron Rodgers at face value. He knows that our D-line, that's bulletin board material. He knows that. That is a case of saying the right things at the right time. Aaron Rodgers, that we're a very good opponent. Well, what was that at when we were 7-7? When you had to pick us as the only team that you had to address. It was 3 other teams that you had to face. The Miami Dolphins. You didn't call the Minnesota Vikings overrated, but some reason you picked out us. Why? Can't lose to that team that way. That's right. ENT, I forgot about that statement. All year long, You have been flapping at the mouth about how superior you are. Wait. How could I forget this one? They didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. How about that? How about that? And now, going into week 18, when our D-line is feasting, our rookies are having quarterbacks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now we're a pretty good team. Well, I can tell you what. And I've never been in the Lions locker room. I can tell you what. I can tell you that ain't nobody in the Lions locker room listening to Aaron Rodgers. They asked Jamal Williams after Sunday game. He said, I don't care what he thinks. And he used to play with him. They homies. He used to play with Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what he got to say. I just want to play football. I'm going to do my talking on the field. And whatever happens in Seattle, these Lions ain't going to forget that. They're not going to forget that at all. Aaron Rodgers might see them monsters, man. Waiting for him. Aiden Hutchinson. James Houston. All of that. This is going to be quite the entertaining game. Quite the entertaining. It is still sinking in to me that the Lions have been flexed. But you heard it here first. I know Mr. Poole was chopping it up. We were talking about it weeks ago. But I listen, you heard it here first, man. I told you that was going to happen. And now we have the Aaron Rodgers saying that we're a good team. I think you're a little nervous, a little scared, maybe. It's something that I wanted to talk to y'all about, though. We need, this week, the LA Rams to win this game. Stafford is eligible to come off IR, but he probably won't. He probably won't. And I saw something. I got a question for y'all, man. Is it true, according to the Twitterverse, you know, the Twitterverse has all the answers, that former Detroit Lions quarterback, his wife, Kelly Stafford, supposedly, on her Instagram page, put a post of the Detroit Rams? I thought that was something. If that is indeed true. I don't really be on Instagram like that. Fearless says it's rumored that Stafford will start on Sunday. Well. You should see the smile on my face. Really? Wow. So it is true. So maybe that's why she put out the post. Now, I said this. If Matthew Stafford beats the Seattle Seahawks and get us in the playoffs, me and him are square. Stafford and Derek are square. It's never been about Matthew Stafford. It was never about him. It never was. It was about watching what the city was going through, how torn the city was. It was about if he won, what that would mean. And it was tough. It was tough. Me, I'm a fan of Jared Goff. I love me some JG, and I hope he wins here. But if that's true, wow. Y'all got to understand something here. I have never, from the moment that he was traded, I have never once rooted for him. Never. And I refuse to. I still will not root for Matthew Stafford. However, y'all heard it here first. It's been 2 years. If he helps my team get into playoffs, because if he does play, this is why. If Matthew Stafford plays on Sunday, it's to help us. 100%. Now, I don't know what he can do alone. I don't know what he can do. There's no Cooper Kupp. There's no Aaron Donald. There's no Allen Robinson. I don't know what he can do. But if he does, if he does play and he wins and we get that 7th seed, him and I are square. I still won't root for him, but we square. The reason I won't root for him is because he no longer plays for my team. And the notoriety that was surrounding him and the way our team was getting decimated, the fanfare that he was getting when he left the city, I don't know. It seems like he started something, though. I do see with his exit, it seemed like our team started getting more love. It seemed like when he was here, nobody cared about the Detroit Lions. He leaves, everybody cares about him. And by the end of last year, as he's ascending and we're descending, it seemed like the tide started to change. And I kind of predicted that as well, that was going to be the case. Yeah, I don't not respect Stafford. Stafford is a warrior. He's a warrior. For me personally, and I was a big fan, advocate of him being traded prior to the trade actually happened. So if Matthew Stafford plays and he wins and helps my team get into the playoffs, him and I are square. But I did see, so y'all saying that it's true, that Kelly Stafford with the Detroit Rams thing is true. I know when we went to go play him and he said he was rooting for us and all that stuff, but just like anything else, time heals everything. It does. So, Stafford family just like Barry and Calvin. Yeah, but they don't have rings. He does. So, we shall see. But you heard it here first. It is true that Kelly Stafford posted a Detroit Rams, I can't believe I said Detroit, a Detroit Rams pick. And the rumors are that Stafford wants to play on Sunday. I don't know what he can do by himself, but if he brings a playoff berth to my team, then we are square. Man, okay, so what's happening with Pat McAfee right now? What's going on? I know we need to get Barry. We need to get Calvin back in this fold, man. So even if he plays, that's legit enough for me if he wants to win or not. He would gain nothing from it from else. Well, he got to do more than that, Ken. Yeah, I think his forgiveness is the rest of y'all. He need to do more than that. He need to help us get in. Now if he wins and we lose, then I might still call it square because we didn't handle our business. So if he beats, I'll put it like this: if he beats the Seattle Seahawks, then we square. Because we got to handle our business. Our business, we got to handle it. Somebody said something in the comments. I wanted to address something. It was during the Stafford conversation. It's on Kelly's stories right now. Instagram, we're not losing. Where's the post? Yeah, if he plays and loses, then he didn't help us. But y'all got to remember, Stafford as a man, I don't not like Stafford. I don't know Stafford. Just like I don't know Aaron Rodgers. I have an idea of who Aaron Rodgers is. But Nick says Stafford isn't playing. He has no incentive. Well, Nick, we're talking about the possibility, the rumor. I don't think he's going to play, but, that'd be something if he did. And if he does, I do believe it's to help our team. That's what I think. Man, it was something I wanted to say, but it got lost in conversation. Oh, Lord. Somebody said something, and I forgot what it was. However, I did see that. Okay, hold on. Let me see. My phone's blowing up right now. Myles Garrett must have said something. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. Now, this is a around the NFL segment. We'll come back because it's one more Lions thing I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap the show up. So this is something that I saw on Sunday, and I was disgusted by this. Did anybody see the celebration from Kayvon Thibodeaux when he sacked Nick Foles and did Snow Angels? I'm telling you what, bro. I am so glad that we did not draft this man. And it tells me a lot about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Those of you watching this channel, NFL Syndicate, you know that I'm a Lions fan. And Kayvon Thibodeaux was the talk of the town. Would we draft Kayvon Thibodeaux? And I told you, you can go check the tape. I was on with Chump Boy, Young Punk, and I told him and the rest of y'all that there was no way that the Detroit Lions were going to pass. They were not going to pass on Aiden Hutchinson if he was available at 2. Why? Because Aiden Hutchinson has class. He has character. He has the qualities that we want as Detroit Lions. Kayvon Thibodeaux, for those of you who don't know, he's been balling as of late. It all started really with that Washington game when they tied. Sacked Taylor Heineke right at the 2-yard line and kind of has been on a tear since. You can see why he was the number 5 overall pick. He sacks Nick Foles, who landed on the ball. Nick Foles is in pain, and Kayvon Thibodeaux is doing Snow Angels. Now, the NFL, in my opinion, very, 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 very unbalanced. By the time Kayvon Thibodeaux got to his third rotation, his third revolution in Snow Angels, a flag should have been thrown. I swear, he sat there for 5 minutes, all the while hitting Nick Foles with his right Snow Angel arm. Nick Foles is writhing in pain. Writhing in pain. And Snow Angel, he hit him again, and all the while, I'm saying to myself, where is the flag at? Why is there no flag on this play? Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, whatever. Kayvon Thibodeaux says he didn't know he was hitting, that he was in pain. He didn't know that he was hitting him or whatever he said. Bruh, aren't you glad we didn't draft this guy? Aren't you glad? Bruh. I know I am. He does not, and I tried to tell y'all that. You can see the character. I know a lot of y'all want Jalen Carter. You do. But if Jalen Carter does not fit the mold of the Detroit Lions, he will not be a Detroit Lion. I know this is an NFL segment. But Kayvon Thibodeaux was classless. Not sure why there wasn't a flag on the play. And it was a disgusting act, in my opinion. Just like when he leaned and looked at the camera after a sack. You're hitting him with your arms over and over and over. So for me, by the third time I hit this dude, I'm probably gonna wonder what. I read a comment as I was talking. He didn't know. That's something my 5-year-old likes to say. Hey, I think it's something we all like to say when we was kids. The best way out of something I didn't know. Because you got to leave some doubt in there. I didn't know. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, bro, the most classless act, in my opinion, of the Week 17 games. By the third time I'm hitting this guy, and I'm wondering to myself, why isn't he getting up? I'm going to at least turn my head to see what's going on. And I don't know about you, but Nick Foles looked like he was in major pain. I don't know what the injury was because I didn't get to see the game. So I don't know if it was long-lasting or if he was able to shake it off. But he looked like he was in pain. And when I get to my third Snow Angel and I'm still hitting Nick Foles in his left side, I'm going to wonder, why is he still laying here? Kayvon Thibodeaux, bro, I just tell you what, as a Detroit Lions fan, I'm glad that he is nowhere near my team. I'm glad that we did not take him. And I personally don't want anything to do with a player like that. Kayvon Thibodeaux is him over team. You can see it in the pre-draft. Now remember, y'all, these NFL teams have extensive interviews with these players. Extensive. The Detroit Lions saw something in Kayvon Thibodeaux that they did not like. And that is why they took Aiden Hutchinson. And all you hear is raves about how good Aiden Hutchinson is as a football. He is a football player. Kayvon Thibodeaux is not a football player. Kayvon Thibodeaux is about Kayvon Thibodeaux. And I am glad that he is not anywhere near my team. However, if you are a New York Giants fan or a fan of the game, did you believe that Kayvon Thibodeaux, how classless did you think it was? And like I said, doing the Snow Angels one way, I'm not mad at that. You got a sack, you're allowed to celebrate. So you do one, you do two, you do three. Okay, now it's getting a little redundant. All the while, you're hitting the guy that you sacked who has not gotten off the turf yet, and you still are doing them over and over and over. So let me know your thoughts below on Kayvon Thibodeaux. Yeah, this guy, man, I tried to tell y'all. I told y'all when we were in the draft process. And listen, Brad Holmes has a structure. And just like I said before, when you're looking at guys in the draft, look at high character guys. Look at guys that are not about themselves, okay? Look at those guys. I don't know how Bryce Young did and Will Anderson. I didn't see much of that game. But that was their last time playing in college. I know they won the game, but I don't know how they played. If a guy's character is not very huge, if it's not about, if he seems to be more about himself than the team, as the way that Brad Holmes has done this thing, I would not expect him to be part of this Detroit Lions team. That's not who we are. That's not what we look for. That's not who we're going after. All right, so this is the last segment of the day. I saved this because I think it's a really, really good one. But before we do that, the internet is a wonderful place. If you are sick, look it up on the internet. Go to WebMD. We got internet doctors, right? Anything you want to know is literally at the touch of a button. It is a voice command away. But the internet is full of, for every good, it's full of just ridiculous stuff, right? So when you do YouTube videos, I did a video we talked about it yesterday, where I talked about an Aiden Hutchinson play. And when you're making YouTube videos, you have to be strategic. So when I put these videos out, I try to put them out in the best way possible that I think they can maybe catch the algorithm or something like that. So it's a strategy. And don't let any YouTuber who's successful tell you it's not. It's 100% a strategy. So I looking at the play, and I would call it breaking down the play. I was looking at the play of Aiden Hutchinson and the one-man rush that happened at the end of the half. And that video has almost 40,000 views. At this very moment, it is sitting at 40,000 views, right? So I check it out an hour later, it's sitting at about 600. I do the game, the stuff happens with Hamlin. I come back, it's sitting at 12,000 views. And currently, it is sitting at about 40,000 views, right? And the reason I'm bringing that up is because when you have a video that has reached that many people, you tend to get a very, you tend to get, it reaches more people. So what does that mean? That means more comments. That means it got to a wider audience, right? And when it gets to a wider audience, it brings certain people to your comment section. Okay? Now, this video has been put in front of 205,000 people. Has 40,000 views. In my comment section, you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing, why don't you play the play? Why do less talking and more showing? You talk for 6 minutes on a 6-minute play. I'm saying to myself, why are you talking? Why are you talking? You have no idea. First of all, who are you? That's number one. Two, you had to be there. Y'all appreciate me running my mouth. It was you had to be there, right? I'm telling you, man, the internet is a wonderful place. It is so much good. And being on YouTube, man, you're going to get it all. You have to have some form of thick skin because people are going to test you. They're going to run their mouth. And hold on, I gotta some of these comments. Some of these comments that I thought was fantastic. Here we go. Most of them happened overnight. And now I can't find them. Did I respond? Let me see. Somebody said the Ben Johnson of play calls. Yeah, I didn't think that was so hard to understand. What did another person say? This comes from Rick McCloskey. Says this video could have been half the time. Kept repeating. Oh my God, get to the point and end it. That's coming from Rick McCloskey. This is coming from Zach. How'd a 6-second play take this long to explain? LOL. I am telling you, bro. I'm telling you. You get all type of people on YouTube. Why are you here? Why are you watching it? Why did you? But thank you, though. You took the time to comment on my video. What's up, Antoine? All right, last segment of the day. I thought this was pretty interesting. And then we will wrap it up. I'll let y'all enjoy y'all Tuesday. I am going to have me some tea and kick back and play some Guardians of the Galaxy. Because I can't do much more. This is harder than you think. Hope that Hamlin has a speedy recovery. But I thought this was pretty cool. This is coming from Pride of Detroit, which is part of SB Nation. And it's from a article by Kelly Rowe. She does YouTube videos for them occasionally. I haven't seen it in a while. But according to Pride of Detroit, ex-NFL coach think Lions can reach NFC Championship game. I'm going to say that again. Ex-NFL coach thinks that the Lions can reach NFC Championship game.
Oh, my God.
Now, my first thought was they got to get to the playoffs first. But who is this ex-coach? Well, he used to be a coach on our very team. That would be Mike Martz. Mike Martz won a Super Bowl with the Rams, the greatest show on turf. He believes that the Detroit Lions can make the NFC Championship game. He was on the 33rd team. So the 33rd team, I just found them not too long ago. They are, first of all, the name is fantastic. It absolutely like stellar. 33rd team. It is a YouTube channel and probably a media company that is part of the 33rd team is NFL players, former and current. The St. Brown show that you watch with him and his brother, that should be hilarious this week. That is on the 33rd team. It's fantastic. They going to go long. I remember seeing them, coming across them. They had like 2,000 subs. I'm like, how do they not have more? But the 33rd team is fantastic. Former and present NFL players. He was on there. He said, I think they can make it into the playoffs, and I think they can go a ways in the playoffs. I think they could end up in the NFC Championship. That was from Mike Martz. He said, are they good enough to win the Super Bowl? I don't know if they're good enough on defense, but this is a team that is clearly one of the top 5 or 6 in the league right now. This is prior to the game against the Green Bay Packers. So we know that we have to win and we need help. By the way, the only team that literally controls their own destiny out of the 3 is the Green Bay Packers. They win, they're in. Obviously, if we lose, we're out. But we need some help from the LA Rams. That game will happen at 4:25, and we will be doing it. I'm sure they will put it in this area, knowing that Detroit is going to be watching that game. And when it comes to Ben Johnson, he says, I think right now he's doing the best job in the league, bar none. He incorporates the run, not just the run, but the variation of runs and their downhill runs. They're not all out of the shotgun, he said. So Mike Martz, he used to actually be the offensive coordinator on our team many, many years ago. And he ran one of the greatest offenses we've seen. He was like an offensive, he was what Ben Johnson is now. And he believes that the Lions can make it to the NFC title game. Now, I will say this. Before this Sunday, I really didn't, I thought the San Francisco 49ers were like Superman, that they were invulnerable. Like you could not penetrate their armor. But seeing what I saw against the Las Vegas Raiders, I think that they are beatable. The defense still scares me half to death because it is legit. Christian McCaffrey, who is questionable coming up into this game, not that it matters for us, but they have a Deebo Samuels trying to come back for the playoffs. They have George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. They got a squad. They have a squad. But I'm not as afraid of them as I was before Sunday. I'm not as afraid as I was Sunday. We catch them with the right time, with the right game plan. I do believe we can beat any team. They are the only team that scares me. Real talk. I'm not scared of the Eagles. I believe that the Eagles could go either way. We had them on the ropes after they led big. We had them on the ropes. Just like we did the 49ers prior. Our offensive line has handled Nick Bosa before, who is an absolute tyrant. But I'm not afraid of them anymore. So Mike Martz saying that he thinks we could go all the way. How do you feel about that? And knowing that we're not even in the playoffs yet. It would be different if we had to beat Green Bay and get in. I think we would be much more. What amazes me about this whole thing is that the Green Bay Packers have a 64% chance to make the playoffs simply because they have to win. Ours is like 11 because we need a gift from the LA Rams. We are going to watch that game. I'm sure they'll put it in our area. So we'll know before Sunday night whether we're playing for something or spoiler. But that's amazing to me that we could get in, and I do believe we could go on a run. We catch these teams with the right game plan at the right time. We're going to have to travel all on the road. We know we can beat the Minnesota Vikings. We know that we can give it to the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys, I think we can give it to all these teams. I know our Cowboy game was not that good, but it was one of them Newton's Law thing or Murphy's Law. It was a Murphy and Newton, both of them guys. Just when it went wrong, it was over. We were going to take the lead, and when that fumble happened, that was the end of that. We didn't look back. We never scored again. So I think we can bring it to all these teams. All these teams. But we got to get there first. We got to get there first, and every game will be on the road. Right now, it's shaping up that we will play. Week 18 is going to be crazy. And it's shaping up that we're going to play. We could play one of three teams. We really could. It's either going to be the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that the Detroit Lions could go to the NFC Championship game? I'll tell you what, if they do, Lord, that would be something crazy. But all right, y'all, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much and if you watch this whole show, thank you for understanding that we needed to talk about Damar Hamlin. Keep watching Twitter. Keep an eye out for the health of that young man because we all want to see him better. I appreciate y'all for making this a fantastic show. We got more coming. I wanted to talk about the Michigan Wolverines, man, and Jim Harbaugh potentially coming to the NFL. Maybe we'll do that later in the week. I am going to have a tea, get some rest, take me some, and maybe a nap, and play me some Guardians of the Galaxy. and get some rest, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. No, Nick will be on tomorrow for Touchdown Detroit Lions. I may or may not be on. It depends on how I want to get on. I don't want to interfere with what he's doing, so we'll see. But if not, I will definitely see you on Thursday. And praying for Damar Hamlin.